So I remember a year or two back when I was asked on a date to go see a comedian, and it was this person. I had no idea who she was, didn't know what she was about, and I figured it's gonna be cool. Nah, it wasn't. So in this one, I know this one's been covered by a couple of really popular YouTubers. I wanted to get my spiel on it since I do have a online men's wellness community that I built called the Solemn Sir. She's very vocal about men, and quite frankly, she's a misandrist. Of course, we all know what misogyny means, but what does misandry mean? It means the hatred of men. And people can say that, well, it's just an act. But when you say things like this on a big soapbox, a big platform, you know it's damaging. And she knows what she's doing, and it's helping her become viral and sell her tickets, but it's damaging. Boy, oh boy, is she a bigot when it comes to men. So that date didn't go well. And the funny thing is that the only funny thing about it is that after the date, I just said right then and there, yeah, we're done. So let's play this and let's see how wonderful and how smart this person is when it comes to men.
However, I wrote this joke before all this happened. Lucky for me, hating women is evergreen, and so these jokes still work. But there is an anger toward women when they don't give attention, a sexual experience, love, admiration, a conversation to an absolute stranger, and there can be deadly consequences for it. And that's
true.
Not her fault, but this is what happens. Now is the portion where I bring it down in order to bring it back up, but here we go. That kid that shot up the University of Santa Barbara a couple years ago, I know, it is hard to keep them straight, America, but this one was different. Because this kid wrote a whole manifesto about how women don't pay attention to him and don't sleep with him, and this is what they deserve. That guy that shot up that Asian strip mall in Atlanta, he had a whole interview about how women don't sleep with him, and he's alone, and this is what they deserve. So now, this next part, I'm going to be as clear as possible because this is a Netflix special, so what I say next will be translated into hundreds of languages, and I want to be succinct, and I want to be loud, and I want to be clear. So here we go.
Yeah, let's applaud even though we don't know what she's about to say. Let's just applaud.
Gentlemen, if you are not having sex, and we're not talking a dry spell, we're not talking you're a little shy, we're not talking your Aunt Sheila did a number on me, I gotta take a knee, we're not talking you swiped right, she had a tail, you didn't know it till the awesome blossom came. We are talking if you don't have sex, and the narrative of your life is that you are not having sex because women are bitches, women are whores, you're a nice guy, and you deserve better.
That's red pill.
That is nature's way of saying you should not be having sex, for you failed to adapt and evolve, and there should be no more of your kind.
Yeah, eugenics, yeah. And coming from a Jewish woman, yeah, eugenics, that's awesome.
If you can't figure it out.
Listen to all those women cheer. If you can't figure it out. If you can't figure it out. It reminds me when women sit there and kind of tell you in their own way, as she's saying, be a man. Figure it out. Because what's seen for men as being effeminate is asking for direction, saying that you're lost, saying you need help. But if you can't figure it out, if you can't be a real man and figure out your life, you're right. And all the women cheering.
And I understand. Women cheer for that. Most men do. Some men are reserved. I get it. I'm a girl. I'm not one of you. And you don't know. You're like, I don't want to cheer for that. That means I'm leaving behind. It's bros before hoes. I'm leaving behind my guy.
No, it's because it's bigotry. That's like if I were to sit there and say anti-Semitic jokes, Iliza, and then you're not clapping. Why not? Right? It's like, it's bigotry. You're sitting there and saying that this big group of men, you saying, okay, incels, but what's an incel? An incel can be anyone that gives women the ick. Honestly, let's be honest. The fact is there's plenty of men that are normal, that are fine, but they're not tall enough. They don't have the right look. They don't drive the nice car. They don't have the right zip code. They don't make enough money. They're blue collar, anything that gives women the ick, it could give them the ick. And now you're an incel. The fact is that men are alone because women, and there's a slew of reasons. One of the top reasons why women are so picky is because they have much easier access to sex now more than ever because of dating apps. It has caused women to become very disillusioned in their actual value. The fact that you can more easily have sex with the types of men that you think you deserve, you're just a toy to them. Are they sticking around? The answer is no. Can you get them to commit? The answer is no. You know, the old saying that women have not just more access to sex than men, but women control sex. They do. But men control relationships. And especially the men that they want. And now they'll sit there and complain when they're all chasing the same group of men. And the men know it. This small circle. And the incels, the other men that give them the ick because they're not tall enough, they don't have the right weight, they don't have the right money, the right job. It's really, a lot of the times with women, it's just social status. Right? That's why if you talk to men that are blue collar, men will tell you it can be hard for blue collar men, and they don't have the debt that white collar men do. They can own a business and be making six figures. But a lot of women don't want to date blue collar guys unless, you know, they have a blue collar father. And I don't want to get Freudian, but the point is that unless they are aware based off of their family of that, yeah, men who can make good money and have a good career blue collar. There is this thing with women about white collar, right? But my point is that being an incel is not what you think. Incel means that it's men that are the neckbeards of Reddit, the moderators of Reddit, right? The nerds that can't get laid. No, it can be many different types of men, because women have these ridiculous standards, and it's okay to have your standards, but to the point where you are beyond Harvard and Yale Ivy League standards. And if you took those same standards, you couldn't even date yourself. Okay? You would give yourself the ick. If you were the male version of you, right, came along from universe B, that's a no-go. The point is that women's standards are ridiculous. They have high expectations when they couldn't even meet them themselves. Men, it means that the definition of incel is not what you think. It's not what she thinks. It's very broad because of their ridiculous standards and because of their overestimation, their overvalue, right? They overvalue themselves based off of these apps, based off of how easy it is for them to have access to sex. And they think, oh, that means that doesn't mean anything. That's what it means.
I can't do that. Yes, leave them. Leave the diseased portion of your herd that is broken.
Yeah, and more claps. So leave the diseased part of you, of your gender that's broken.
They're giving you a bad name. We believe you are good. Come with us for snacks and sex and good-looking babies.
And there it is, and sex. And women, that's one of the lessons they learn at a young age, is that they can weaponize sex and use it to get what they want out of men, right? Because we are just dogs after all, right? And the fact that she's talking to us and leading us along, you know, like a dog that we are, and promising that carrot of sex, because we're idiots, remember that. It's just, all of this is extremely it's bigotry. It's misandry. One more time, misandry. What is that? Does that mean? I remember when I was talking to a woman one day and I was like, you know what misandry is? She said, misogyny? We are beaten over the head over and over and over again about misogyny. I get it. It exists. Misandry. Oh, what's that mean? Exactly.
And gentlemen, if it still makes you uncomfortable, I totally get it. It might make you more comfortable to note that I stole that entire idea from a man named Charles Darwin. You can Wikipedia it, okay? It's just evolution and adapting. Because here's the truth, boys. It is so easy to get a girl. This is where...
Yeah. It's super easy. Yeah, so... just pathetic and sad. You know, you have people, these idiots, these bigots that are given these soapboxes, these big soapboxes, and they're allowed to say these disgusting, toxic things because it sells. And let me tell you, as someone that built something, I think that's good. So I have an online wellness community. Yes, I'm going to say it again, the Solemn Sir. It is an uphill battle to spread positivity because people bathe in it. They bathe in negativity. They want negativity. Aren't you tired of being just sad? Aren't you tired of being hateful? Aren't you tired of this shit? Misandry and misogyny, the gender wars. It's a joke. It's a game. And the rich people play it. It's one other thing, just like race, that the uber elite make sure that we are divided on so that they can control us easier. You understand? For example, the women that will sit there and rag on men and men are crap and I'm going to be alone because these employers, they can't wait. They're rubbing their hands because they know that women that are alone are going to work hard and dive into their career because they know that human beings want purpose. Men, women want purpose. You don't have a family, you're going to find purpose in a career. In my job, right? Or the job I give you, so you're going to be my little workhorse, right? So the thing is that this is all about dividing us. If it's about your employers taking advantage of you because you have nothing to come home to, yeah, or politicians that want to make sure that we don't come together and see our similarities. They can divide us so they can easily control us. Yeah. And they'll give these professional clowns, they'll give them these soapboxes because they know they need someone to get these messages out there to divide us. What's great is that the Solemn Sir, there's a lot of women that follow me. There's a lot of women that follow the Facebook channel that are members of the actual site, and it's positivity is what we're talking about. But it's an uphill battle because I know if I was spreading a message, let's say red pill, I'd have no problem going viral. Even though red pill isn't as big as it used to be, being so negative, attacking women, for example, would help me go viral, right? And like what she's doing, attacking men and saying these ignorant things, it does feel good to be, in a way, this type of it's disrespectful, yeah, but with people, there's so much that people enjoy when they're talking bad about other people. The gossip, for example, and spreading these jokes where this is something that's very serious. Absolutely, having these men that feel so isolated that some of them go out of their way to be domestic terrorists and shoot up schools or shoot up places. Yeah, I understand. That's a problem. So let's talk about solving those problems. Saying that fuck those men, forget about them, they're losers anyway. Are you serious? So here's an analogy and the reason why I started the Solemn Sir, right? For those that know me, I'm not really a social person, but I understand something, that a lot of people are ignorant to this fact, that we're all in a community get together. And I know sometimes because of technology, we feel so disconnected. We are connected. And it's like this. If you see a house in your neighborhood, right, burning, and I mean big fire here. For example, men suffering. And this group of men who are suffering keeps getting larger and larger, right? And the fire keeps spreading and spreading until it gets to your house. And it burns down your entire fucking cul-de-sac. When you could have called the firefighters, you see that there's people out there willing to help to put these fires out. It's okay, fuck them. Okay, so it all burns down. We need to help each other. And I say this for, I do have women that do reach out to me because they feel that they need help because, let's say, and I'm not going to get too personal, but, they'll talk about a husband that feels lost or a husband that's depressed and it's affecting them. And they're women, so they picked wrong. It's their fault. They picked wrong. That's not me. I'm not that guy. Sorry, Iliza. Sitting there and blaming people because of what's going on, how they're suffering, and it's all their fault, and they're losers. We got to grow up. And I know she's a comedian. And some people will say, you are just taking things way too seriously. When you're taking this message and putting it out there for millions of people to see, where it becomes a part of pop culture, this this ideology, this bigotry towards men. It's not okay. This is very serious. And then she's feeding into these men, giving them ammunition to why it's okay to hate women because they hate us. And I'm not saying that it's right for these men to do what they do. But when you have this attitude that, you know what, we don't like you, in fact, we hate you, we despise you, what do you think is going to happen? Things get better, or those men just vanish? So, honestly, when I went on this date with this person and we went out and saw Iliza, oh my God, I didn't know who she was, but I just sat there. I was like, this is awful. Because she was saying the same bigoted jokes towards men. And then when it was over, she turned to me and she was all excited because she was laughing the whole time. Well, what do you think? I was bad. What do you mean? Well, she was just hating on men the whole time. How do you think that makes me feel? Well, it's something I think you could learn when it comes to feminism. All men should sit and learn from women. What are you talking about? She's a professional clown. What do you have to learn from a clown besides blowing up balloons and making balloon animals? Let me tell you something. She had to stop herself when she was telling a joke. When I was watching her, she was telling a joke about having a job, about having an office job. She was telling a joke that way. And then she had to stop herself and say, wait a minute. Let's stop real quick. I never had a job before. Never had a real job before. Let me try to retell this joke. Let me wait a minute. She was serious. That wasn't part of her set. She had to stop herself because she realized, well, I can't bullshit this much about having a career because outside of this job, right, outside of being a professional clown, I've never been in an office before. Why are we taking these people seriously? Beyond me, but we are, right? We are these professional clowns, right? So please just be safe out there and be smart. Drop a comment below. Tell me what you think about Iliza and what she had to say. And remember to share. And I got to say, there's plenty of women that despise her. And too bad that there's a lot of women that think she's great. But what is going to help us when it comes to progressing as a society, men and women, is not to continue to drive a wedge between the genders. We have to work together and come together. And this whole ideology of that men don't need women don't need men, we're better off alone. What are we talking about here, people? People need people.